You know, my opinion on NoFap has changed so much over the last few years. I remember a few years ago when I first started learning about it and diving into it, I thought it was just massively overrated. I thought it was just a topic for content creators to get a bunch of views on. I actually did a video on my other channel, just Ryan Horgan. It was one of the first videos I did that started like gaining some traction. And then I changed my mind and thought, you know, this is actually quite good from a practical sense. I actually see the utility in giving you energy and so on. And now I've come to realize there is a massive spiritual benefit to this. Huge spiritual benefit that I've seen and witnessed in my life, and diving more into it, I've seen it with a hell of a lot of other people. And I'm going to go off here and go off into like this spiritual talk, and some of you might think it's woohoo or whatever it is, and whatever. I don't care. It is what it is. I'm just going to dive into it and say, from the practical standpoint on some of the runs that I've done, a couple of longer stints, is yes, more energy, more vitality, more focus once you get over that initial like stages of outrageous horniness. Less illness as well. I actually found I never got sick on it during the winter months when I'd go on a streak. So that was all great, but here's where the spiritual aspect comes into it. You see, I don't think heaven and hell are real places. I don't think we die, we either go to heaven or hell. I think heaven and hell are real in the sense of they're real in this realm, in this life. And they're usually in the mind. You can be in heaven in the mind, you can be in hell in the mind. If you're in a horrible place psychologically, you're in dire straits, full of anxiety, shame, guilt, so on, you're in hell. You're in hell. That's where you go to. It's tough getting out of there. And if you go into masturbation, you go into, especially when it relates to watching porn and stuff, right? There's a lot of shame there, whether it's conscious, semi-conscious, subconscious. Tends to be usually semi-conscious. A lot of guilt, a lot of shame, embarrassment, especially people that want to improve, want to get better. You know, you watch that stuff and you just don't feel good about yourself, right? And that shame bleeds into other areas of your life. And that leads to negative thoughts and anxiety and procrastination and self-sabotage and so on. So you're in hell. And if you're deep in that thing, here's the thing about the devil. Let's say the devil doesn't have an interest to look for people that are already in hell. You're already there. He wants to look for people that are not quite in hell. Usually the ones that are ascending. He wants to drag you down, wants to tempt you. And what the devil will usually do, what evil does, it tempts you with pleasure, short-term pleasures, right? And I'm sure this is why so many of you on this have felt this. If you've ever done NoFap and stuff, you have these urges, right? These temptations. These are, you can see it as the devil at play, trying to drag you down, into hell, to the hell of your mind. That's the way you got to kind of see it. That's the way I felt it. And when you're ascending and you overcome those things, you overcome those aspects, you overcome those urges, you overcome those cravings, you have that discipline, you reach a sense of pride. Now, of course, pride becomes 4 or 4. You can't get too prideful, but pride, and you feel satisfied, you feel happy, you're disciplined, you're heading towards a better you, better direction. You just have some sense of freedom of yourself because you have that discipline. All of this feels great, man. You know, and you're heading towards heaven. You're heading towards heaven on earth, which sounds kind of so. I know what this sounds like. You know, NoFap leads you towards heaven on earth, but it's a part of it's just one part of it. It's one part of the journey. It's one part of the spiritual journey here towards your higher self, and it's become a very strong tool because, like I said, the devil. The descent into hell is paved with pleasures at every corner. paved with temptations everywhere. God is the other. God sort of puts boundaries, sort of puts obstacles in your way. Don't see these temptations as obstacles, because they're so easy to have. They're so easy to grab and use and abuse. Obstacles are different. Obstacles are challenges, right? God will test you in that way. The ascent to your higher self is all about challenges. But yeah, those temptations, man. If you ever see that temptation, you're ever on this run, if you're ever on a stint or whatever it is in life, man, it doesn't have to relate to NoFap exactly, but you know, you're a married man, or you have a girlfriend, you're in a relationship, or whatever it is, right? Temptations, lust, all of this stuff. Reframe it as, this is the devil trying to bring me down. This is all part of the devil trying to test my spirit, test my soul. And if I go down there, if I go into hell and I do that, take that trip into lustfulness too many times, I will be there. I will be in hell. It's a hell of a tough place to get out of. So that's why I view it as a necessary spiritual practice. A lot of spiritual gurus have spoken about it, right? It's spoken about semen retention. It's even referenced in the Bible and other religious texts and so on. It's a powerful practice, man. Not just practical, physical sense, but mental, psychological, and spiritual. What do you think?